Welcome back to my quick tip series. Today I will take a look onto the CSS scroll timeline. We will go over 3 different examples. I will quickly go over the examples and will explain how it works. But the scroll timeline is overall like a new CSS property that allows you to make some stuff like this or make some animations based on if an element is in the viewport. And finally we will take a look onto this fancy animation. Okay, let us quickly start with the horizontal scroll. For that example, we have 3 different images. All of them are randomly generated by a third party. And we have a styling that have some keyframe animations and also of course some styling to place the elements correctly. But that's like the part that is most important for us. Here we have the gallery and the scroll container. If we look at the scroll container most likely have a background color, and overall it's not really complicated, but the important thing is the gallery. That's the element below, and this one, it has a flex container and makes the element placed next to each other. How the scrolling now or the scroll timeline now works. We have here the new property. All of them is more or less like an experimental feature, but over the time I guess it will be inside of the officially allowed CSS properties. And what we can say here is, if you look here, it is it have like a scroll property or scroll function, and here we're telling it that it should look for the root scrolling. Then we have an animation that's like the move gallery, which more or less moving the gallery, because that's the element where it is placed on, by the x-axis by a specific amount. And because we set it to scroll root, it will kind of using, instead of a normal animation with like a timing, here it will like make an 0 to 100% based on the scroll positioning, and then running the animation we're providing to them. And if we now take a look into the DevTools and looking on the gallery, we have here the animation, which already, as you can see, like overrides this animation timeline with the scroll. And this overall just like moving the container on the x-axis while we changing the positioning in the scroll. That's kind of all about this example. Relatively easy, but it allows you to like fake the scrolling. Like the user could scroll normally, but if you're making this type of thing inside of a container and kind of make a container that has a max height and have a fixed content like this, you can kind of fake the user to scroll to the side instead of like scrolling downwards, and this can make some nice effects. Then let us continue with the view progress. This example like showing that there's a content, and when the user like come nearer the element, it will animate. Then it will have like a freeze time or a time where nothing happens, and then it will like animate reverted when you are leaving this content. Let us quickly take a look into the example. We have here a header, have here a class that containing the different features, and of course it's all styled that it looks nice. And what happens here is we have a slide in and the image reveal That's like the two containers, like for the left side of the card and for the right side. And here we have an animation timeline view, and that's kind of the same as the scroll. It allows you to like getting a value between 0 and 100 for the animation, and then this will get applied to your animation. And as you can see in the slide in animation, for example, you see that we telling the animation to like start with opacity 0 and the translation X by minus 100 pixels. Then it will go next to the 25% with opacity 1 and translate 0. This will stay as long as it is 75%, and then after that it will go to the 100% and will like get the same state back. For the image reveal, it's like the same. And if we now, for example, play around and I don't know, like make some changes, like changing the background color to be pink, I don't know, and here you see like that if we make this type of thing and going back to black, it will also animate this. You see like that it get to the pinkish and then it will go back to the different color. That's kind of all. We have some animations also for the reverse. It's kind of the same, like you see here, it's again the pinkish, but here it's a different animation to get this nice effect from different sides of the view. But you can now repeat the same elements as often as you want, and the animation will get applied correctly. Then I will quickly reword my changes and we can continue with the last example. Here we have the rotation 3D. As you can see, like here, we have two things you can see. We have a bar that get filled when you're reaching the end of the animation. And we also have this 3D card that rotates when we're scrolling. And also we have the scroll at the bottom that also animates while this. We will quickly go into that last example. We have here the progress bar, and we have here a scroll container that contains the information, and also have here like this scroll text that pops up at the bottom. If we now look at the CSS, what happens is more or less we using that card rotation with a translate and perspective and then the rotation, as you can see here. And this leads to this diagonal rotation. And we have this progress scale, which kind of like has an element inside that gets scaled to 0 and then scales to 1. It's kind of filling the bar by this. And this text pulsing is relatively easy to see. You have an opacity, you have the transform that makes the content a little bit smaller and then makes it bigger at the 15%. And here you can see that we're applying the animations all on the scroll timeline. I hope you liked the video and subscribed, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.